With the increased rate of human trafficking and illegal migration, NAPTIP has so far had to redouble its efforts to combat this scourge. You are watching NAPTIP on the Move, and I am Emanuela Okeke. Glad to have you join us. Slavery was abolished over 200 years ago, but modern-day slavery, known as human trafficking, has somehow managed to keep over 28.9 million people bound to sexual exploitation and exploitative labor. Our package today is on human trafficking, with highlights on trafficked victims who are lucky to tell their story because they are alive. You will find out that there is always redemption at the end of the road if you stay with us.
Described as modern-day slavery, man's inhumanity to man, highly prevalent even in the 21st century, a grave violation of human rights. Human trafficking is a heinous crime which entails recruitment and transportation of persons by coercion, force, and fraud for the purpose of labor and sexual exploitation, sale of babies, as well as organ harvesting. Human trafficking is known to be over a $150 billion business annually, and also the third most lucrative criminal business after arms smuggling and drug trafficking. Virtually all countries of the world are affected. In Nigeria, several cases of internal and external trafficking abounds, as Nigeria is a source, transit, and destination country. To stop this ugly trend, the federal government of Nigeria established the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons by the Trafficking in Persons Prohibition Law Enforcement and Administration Act of 2003, which was reenacted in 2015 to further strengthen the agency to combat the new trend of trafficking in persons. Also in 2015, NAPTIP was mandated to implement the provision of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act to eliminate all forms of violence against persons in private and public life and provide maximum protection and effective remedies to victims, including domestic violence, child abuse, rape, psychological abuse, female genital mutilation, incest, and many other forms of violence. To effectively carry out this mandate, NAPTIP employed a five-pronged approach of policy, prevention, protection, prosecution, and partnership. In this regard, NAPTIP investigates, arrests, prosecutes, and convicts offenders while rescuing, counseling, rehabilitating, and empowering victims of human trafficking and violence against persons. The nature of human trafficking informs partnerships with stakeholders at all levels, nationally, regionally, and internationally. NAPTIP rescues several victims from different parts of the world.
I left Nigeria July 19, 2017 to Libya. In the desert, the journey was not easy. We were 150 that left Agadez to Sabah. We lost 55 souls. That is the rough estimate we can give at that point in time. From Sabah, we moved to Tripoli. In Tripoli, we moved to the sea. Let's cross over to to Italy. In the sea, the boat we were inside, we were 140. At the Blue Sea, the boat capsized, where we lost 110, died. My experience in Libya is not something to talk home about because it's not good at all. They hold us captive. They don't release us. We were in that Nigeria prison, or they call it detention camp, but it's prison because when they treat us there, we eat food like a slave. But I want to say very big thank you to the federal government for this massive deportation they are doing. It's a very good one. I really appreciate them. God will bless them because they are God sent to us.
I encountered a case of 3 brothers that entered this route, but it's only one that came back with me today. 2 have gone. So the last time I heard about 2 boats being pushed into the sea, the 2 boats comprised of 290 people, but it's only 4 people that survived in the 2 boats. It's only 4 people. So this journey doesn't want our life. This journey doesn't want it. Let whatever we are looking for there, we can get it in this Nigeria. Because I must confess to you, it was in the course of this journey that I came to learn and understand that Nigeria has a great value. And there is nothing in this my whole wide world that will make me embark on any illegal journey again. I can never try it. And I am advising my fellow youths, they should never try it. It doesn't worth our life. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
When I got to Libya, I was suffering, spent 9 months in prison in Suprata. After 9 months in prison, they took me again to Tesora. I spent 2 years in Libya. I've been to 6 prisons in Libya. I suffered a lot. No food, no water, with beating. There was one woman, Julia Kadoli. She came to Libya and helped all of us. There is NAPTIC. If not for NAPTIC, I would have been a dead person by now. NAPTIC helped Libya people a lot, mostly Julia Kadoli. She helped us a lot. Please, for people that is trying to embark on the journey to Libya, please, it's not good.
They promised me that I will go to Saudi to work as a sales agent, and that I will be earning almost like 1,500 riyals, which is equivalent to 150,000 naira Nigerian currency. So when I got to Saudi, it was a different thing entirely. I was taken to a particular home. My passport was collected from me and I started working as an housemaid. The job was so much. I usually wake up 5 a.m. in the morning and sleep around 10 a.m. at night. I don't go out, I don't do anything. I was really, really depressed. So I told my boss, I want to start going back to Nigeria. I can no longer do this job. She said, if I want to go back to Nigeria, I'm going to pay her 18,000 riyals, which is equivalent to 1.7 million naira Nigerian currency. If I cannot pay her, I would work for her for 2 years. We are suffering back in Saudi, Nigerian girls that are there. Some are even being sexually molested. Like me, I went through physical torture because my boss, my madam and my boss and the children, they beat me because I said I wanted to come back to Nigeria, that I was no longer going to work with them again. So I contacted a friend, a journalist friend, who contacted NAPTIP for me. NAPTIP got involved. They contacted the MFA, which is Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So that was how I was brought back to Nigeria.
NAPTIP also rescues victims within Nigeria.
My dad's sister's daughter came to the village that she wants to pick me to the city. One certain time like this, I don't know what happened. Him and his wife was quarreling, was beating her, breaking glasses in the house. As he beat his wife, he sent her out of the house, that she should not come into our house again. He came to my room and told me that she should move into his room, and around that 12 o'clock, I just saw somebody from nowhere just carry his singlet, because he was using one thick singlet like this. He used it to tight my mouth, hold me, and he threatened me that anything that is going to happen now, if I mention it outside or I tell anybody, he's going to kill me. Not only kill me, he's going to kill my parents too, which is my dad. He specifically said that he's going to kill my dad. So I was afraid, I was crying. He took off my clothes and he slept with me that night. On the day, that is 25th December, day gone. As I finished bathing, I entered my room. I was tying my towel. As I entered my room, then I now saw him followed me. As he immediately entered the room, he pushed me and unlocked the door. As he pushed me to the bed. He pressed my hair on the pillow. He still did the same thing again, the second time. On New Year Day again, the children were not aware what was happening. They were watching movie, their cartoon. As he locked the door, he repeated the same thing. By that time, I could not hold my stool anymore. I went to the school. I told my friends. They all escorted me to the council office. I explained everything to her. She had to take me to the principal office, and I explained everything to her. So that is the day she took phone. I don't know who she called that day. So around 10 or to 11, that's when I saw a bus. They came and they told me that it's Naptip, that they are coming to take me.
When they brought me to this Abuja, my auntie keep maltreating me and all that. Anytime my auntie go to the market or anytime in the night or anytime she's not around, when I'm doing something, my uncle say that I should leave the shop, then I should come and meet him in the room. Or sometimes if my auntie is in the shop, he will say that I should lie for him, that he's calling me to send me to go and buy something. So I'll go, then my uncle will lock the door. He will say that I should pull off my clothes. If I pull off my clothes, then he will not see that. Him too, he will pull off his clothes. He said that I should lie down on the bed. So he told me that I should not tell anybody, that if I tell anybody, he's going to throw me out of the house. I don't know where to go again. So when he continued doing it, and then I now leave the house. I ran to one neighbor house that is living with Naptip officer. So I was not telling them my stories and all that. Then I said, okay, they are going to take my case to court. And I said, okay, there's a place they are going to bring me to. They are going to take care of me there, and they are going to put me in school there. And I said, okay. Then I brought me to this one club. So that is how I became child of Wycliffe and child of Wycliffe and Naptip.
So far, Naptip has secured over 350 convictions with several pending cases in court, rescued and empowered over 13,000 victims. A beneficiary of the Naptip scheme, Abubakar Namaka, was amongst other young boys being trafficked to Niger Republic when he was 14 years old. The lorry was apprehended by security operatives who handed the boys over to Naptip, where he was sheltered, counseled and empowered in June 2015 with the sum.
Naptip mun same su ne mun je Niger muka samu Naptip sai suka zo da mu nan Sokoto sai suka tura mu Abuja sai aka ba mu kuɗi an ka ce mu je mu yi sana'a to alhamdulillah gaskiya mun yi sana'a ga ta nan ta ci gaba sosai gaskiya yanzu komai ya samu lafiya lo insha Allah an samu fridge babba an saye sun ba mu kuɗi dai 120,000 sun ba mu fridge mun to mun fara sana'a yanzu komai ya ci gaba har mashin ma an samu da sauran kayayyaki dai duk ga sunan komai ya samu insha Allah gaskiya Naptip na gode sosai Allah ya saka musu alkhairi Allah shi biya su na gode sosai.
To further intensify the fight against human trafficking and violence against persons, the agency has introduced Rapid Response Squad, the Whistleblower Policy, and the Naptip iReporter app for fast and easy reporting and swift response. Play your part. Support Naptip today to ensure a human trafficking-free nation.
Human trafficking, popularly known as modern-day slavery, is very much with us, even in this 21st century. It is a crime against God and humanity. You may be thinking, this message is not for me. Think again, because if you are paying your employee through an agent, you are a trafficker. If you employ a child under 12 years as a domestic worker, you are a trafficker. If you abduct a person against their will, keep and exploit them for monetary gains, you are a trafficker. If you promise international jobs with the intention to exploit the victim sexually and for cheap labor, you are a trafficker. If you buy and sell human organs, you are a trafficker. There are so many components of trafficking with devastating effects on the victims. This victim may be your daughter, son, brother, sister, mother, or father. Let us be our brother's keeper. Join hands with NAPTIP to stop human trafficking now.
Report cases of human trafficking to these NAPTIP hotlines 0703 0000 203 or 080 0022 5562 7848. NAPTIP, ensuring a human trafficking-free nation.
This is a reminder to anyone subjected to any form of human trafficking, it is not the end of the road. Once there is life, there is hope. NAPTIP event is next. Keep watching. The Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Program, RULAC, funded by the European Union and implemented by the British Council, recently unveiled gazetted copies of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. Speaking at the ceremony, the Director General of NAPTIP, Dame Julie Okadoni, underscored the importance of the VAP Act.
This is another milestone in the quest to ensure that stakeholders and administrators of the Act are equipped with the requisite legal instruments for prosecution of violence-based cases. This gathering also provides an avenue to reappraise the efforts of stakeholders towards the implementation of the Act, and more so inaugurates the FCT SGBB Response Team Secretariat. It is surely the desire of all here that the Secretariat will be a catalyst in the prosecution of offences under the Act. I must commend the concerted efforts of all stakeholders, especially ROLA, who have for the past years been auspicious in ensuring that the mandate of NAPTIP and other relevant stakeholders in implementing the provisions of the Violence Against Persons Act 2015 is achieved to the hilt.
Highlights of the event was the unveiling of the copies of the VAP Act. The Director General of NAPTIP then shed more light on the role of NAPTIP in the implementation of the VAP Act.
A lot of people just think of human trafficking when they think of NAPTIP. So now we are beginning to create that awareness that it's not just about human trafficking, we also have to deal with cases of violence against persons. Because the VAP Act is domiciled with NAPTIP. NAPTIP prosecutes offenders and we ensure that they are convicted. So that we have a very major role to play. We also have a role to play in terms of prevention through awareness creation. A lot of awareness is being done, and I think this is a good step because people will become more aware with the distribution of the simplified versions of the Act.
The National Program Manager of ROLAC, Dan Ladiplang, also spoke on the program's work with NAPTIP and some of the new provisions of the Act.
The VAP Act at the federal level is domesticated in NAPTIP, and therefore it means that for us to support that process, we need to really work with NAPTIP. And one of the things that we noticed is that there has been no public awareness in terms of what the law provides, even amongst lawyers. When you talk about sexual offences, the first thing that comes to mind is REP, which is provided in our criminal code and then in our penal codes. But that has a definition of sexual assault has gone beyond those traditional understanding of what it means. Okay, in the VAP Act, it also provides that a man can actually be convicted for raping another man. The traditional understanding of sexual assault is a man raping a woman, but it can happen also, to men. Secondly, we are working with NAPTIP to establish a sexual offenders register. Basically, what the register contains are the lists of persons that have been convicted for sexual offenses, and it helps a lot, in particular for institutions and agencies, whether public or private, that deal a lot, especially with children. Okay, so when you have that register, if I'm an institution, for instance, an orphanage, I would want to see the list of people in that register so that in terms of employing staff, I don't have to employ somebody who has once been convicted of a sexual offense. So it's creating that awareness for people to know that this is what the law provides for.
Representatives of non-governmental organizations and civil society organizations such as IPAS, RAPA, ministries and agencies of government were also in attendance. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons recently played host to a delegation from the Office of the National Security Advisor, led by two experts on border management, Arabelle Beneka from Vienna and Dr. Willie Eselebo from Ibadan, whose mission was to gather information on the operations of the agency as it relates to border management. Receiving the delegation, the Director General of NAPTIP, Dame Julie Okadonli, highlighted the need for NAPTIP's presence at border posts and airports.
Dealing with the border security and management, there is no doubt that some sister agencies are traditionally there already. But with the high rate of human trafficking in Nigeria, especially across borders, NAPTIP's presence at the borders has become very imperative. It's very important that NAPTIP has to be there. Reason being that we are trained to identify potential victims of trafficking, and we know that everyday victims are being trafficked. Because if you do not understand a potential victim of trafficking, then you cannot stop a victim of trafficking.
She then called for closer interagency collaboration for proper data collection.
We try as much as possible to be cordial with all the other law enforcement agencies, because the truth is that we can't fight this crime alone. We all need to work together to fight the crime of human trafficking. All hands must be on deck. There's no competition, there's no trophy to be won. It's all about Nigerians and Nigeria. For example, a sister agency would arrest victims of trafficking and they are the ones prosecuting them. It shouldn't be so. If you arrest a victim of human trafficking, the proper thing to do is to refer them to NAPTIP, because data becomes impossible on the number of arrests we've made, the number of people we are prosecuting, the number of convictions. So it's a huge problem, you know. So the earlier we begin to work with each other and realize our boundaries, the better.
After the meeting, the border control experts shared their thoughts.
The essence of this visit is to make a renewed effort actually in supporting Nigeria in developing a border management strategy, a strategy which is supporting or helping the border authorities to cooperate better and seamlessly on border issues and work towards an effectively managed, secure border system.
Our interaction is fruitful. We learned a lot and we were able to understand the responsibilities of NAPTIP and what they've been doing to reduce human trafficking in Nigeria. And the details are quite insightful, and we learned about the collaboration and communication network with other agencies.
The importance of proper border control in the fight against human trafficking cannot be overemphasized, as external trafficking involves border crossing. The Director General of NAPTIP, Dame Julie Okadonli, and her team recently received the Executive Director of the Global Initiative Against Illegal Migration, Barrister Emmanuel Osime Obiyon, who enlightened the Director General and her team on the mandate of his organization, with sole purpose of campaigning against irregular migration and offering free training for victims of human trafficking. Welcoming the Global Initiative Against Illegal Migration, the Director General of NAPTIP highlighted the efforts of the agency, including its five-pronged approach in the fight against human trafficking. Concluding the meeting, a memorandum of understanding was signed by both parties to formalize the partnership agreement. The children whose faces you see on your screen are missing. 5-year-old Chibundu Uzo and 4-year-old Victor Uzo are both brothers of the same parents. The two brothers were abducted outside their house, located opposite Dakibi police station in Jabi area of Abuja on the 22nd day of June 2018. If you have a lead, please call these NAPTIP hotlines on your screen.
This is to inform the general public that Perebi Nicole Otubo, a notorious human trafficker, is wanted by NAPTIP. Anyone with useful information on her whereabouts should contact the agency on this toll-free number 0703 0000 203 0800 2255 627847. You can email info@naptip.gov.ng. NAPTIP, ensuring a human trafficking-free nation. For more enquiries and support, or to report cases of suspected human trafficking and child abuse, please call NAPTIP hotlines on 0703 0000 203 or 0800 2255 627847 or email info@naptip.gov.ng. Visit our website www.naptip.gov.ng. Follow us on our social media platforms @NapTip Nigeria and watch our videos on YouTube.
That's our program for today. Do your part. Report suspected cases of human trafficking, child abuse and violence against persons to NapTip. There is also the NapTip iReporter app, which puts reporting at your fingertips. So get to know your neighbor now. You may just be the help they've been praying for. This is where we draw the curtain. Do join us again, same time next week. I am Emanuela Okeke. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.